Hello, everybody, and welcome to HTF Bets, our live Thursday show here on the Hitting the Field Network. I'm Riley Shepard. On this week's episode, we're talking some way too early NFL Super Bowl odds, and of course, with MLB opening day tipping off today, we are, of course, talking about some of that. So without further ado, HTF Bets starts now.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome back, everybody. Riley Shepard, Kelly Campbell, and Jeffrey Laux. And over there on the desk, we have two guests this week, Johnny Jackson and Nate Marrero. How we doing over there, guys?
Yeah, it's great. You know, we're trying to complete the gauntlet for my last semester here with Nate. Football is going to be interesting.
Our resident Washington Commanders fan. Now, guys, FanDuel has released some way too early Super Bowl odds, so we're going to go around and talk about some of them really quick. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs are leading the way at plus 600 odds, followed by the Philadelphia Eagles at plus 900, along with Buffalo Bills, and the Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers at plus 900, followed by the Dallas Cowboys at plus 1300. Jeff, I want to start with you. Out of these odds, who is the number one contender?
And you said it first, the Kansas City Chiefs, and you know why? That team is still built to go. As long as Andy Reid, Kelsey, and Patrick Mahomes are there, that team is going to go. And even with Andy Reid leaving off, I still think that in the future, Patrick Mahomes is still going to be that possible reigning MVP, the Super Bowl MVP. He's still going to get those accolades and possibly chase down Tom Brady for all those crazy historic accolades that he made in his time during the New England Patriots.
Absolutely. Kelly, are we riding with the defending champs, or are we going with the field?
So, okay, obviously the Chiefs, I feel like that's obvious. I mean, they're amazing. Patrick Mahomes, I definitely see him breaking those records, but I wanted to be different. I wanted to go with the Bills. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan, and I think if this year he can finally get over the hump of the late playoff exit, I think he could be great. I think he could finally have that season where he's crowned king, because he has the talent. For some reason, he just can't complete. He can't finish.
You know, and the frustration by Stephon Diggs at the end of the season, I don't know if it's going to carry over into the next season, if like Gabe Davis will jump him in the depth chart. I don't know what's going to go on with that wide receiver chart, but I definitely think they have the weapons to compete. You know, they lost a couple of players in the offseason, whether it's Devin Singletary, a couple of those other players. And
Devin Singletary, I think they're going to miss him more than they realize. I know he was kind of quiet in the backfield, but he did complete a lot of those short yardage situations where they needed to pick up the third down, and he really muscled through the line. So I think they're going to miss him a little more than they realize, but we have some nice talent coming in this year with the draft. So,
Nate, I want to ask you, are the Bills actual contenders, or are they just going to be chasing the Chiefs again?
You know, they're chasing the Chiefs again. I honestly, they haven't done anything this offseason. They act like they're still the same thing is going to keep them at the top of the AFC, and I really don't see that. I don't even know if they're the best team in their division anymore. Like, if you're staying the same, you're only getting worse. And they're so Josh Allen-centric. He accounted for 42 of their 57 touchdowns, which I believe is like the highest percentage in the NFL. And they haven't gotten him any help. I mean, Stephon Diggs is really good. Gabe Davis he's on and off. They need to get him more help. Like, there's too much on his plate. And that's why you see him like, oh, why is he making this decision? Why does he have to? Because if he doesn't put on the Superman cape, they don't have much of a chance.
Now, you said that they're not even going to be the best team in their division. Are the Dolphins?
I think the Dolphins, I think they got it. Listen, Tua Tagovailoa, are the concussions scary? Yes. Anytime you see those kinds of head injuries, especially to a very young, very talented quarterback, especially, it's scary. But Tua's going to bounce back. He was playing at an MVP level before these injuries, and still played at a very high Pro Bowl level, even after the third head injury he had over the course of the season. Now, again, the Bills are a great team. I'm not saying this to discredit the Bills, but a healthy Tua Tagovailoa last year, that team is better than the Bills. I think they showed it in the regular season.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take, Jonathan.
But they didn't have Tua in the playoffs.
I think a fully healthy Tua Tagovailoa with the Dolphins, not saying Tua and Josh Allen. Josh Allen is better than Tua. But the roster and the scheme and just the matchup, period, I think the Dolphins can take the Bills in a playoff game.
Do those off-season additions put them over that hump?
I mean, Jalen Ramsey and Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator, he's one of the best in the game. That's going to be such a huge difference for them on defense.
Now,
the thing is, though, with the Bills, when their offense is on, it's on. So even though they have Jalen Ramsey, I mean, he's going to have to fix the entire defense for the Dolphins, basically.
What? You acting like Xavier Howard has not been around for a minute. He's been one of the top 3 corners in the league, and no one talks about him.
And what did they do? I mean, they did better than they did normally, but I mean,
they had Skylar Thompson starting a playoff game for them against the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
He threw 3 interceptions.
We get Lamar to the Dolphins, then I'll talk. Then I'll be.
No. Whoa. Lamar is going to be a Washington Commander. Lamar is going to take the Commanders to the Super Bowl.
now
Okay, Dan Snyder's going to sell the team to Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, you know, all the Amazon money in the world, he's going to back up 3 Brinks trucks to get Lamar in Washington, D.C. It's going to happen. I've lit my sage, right?
Now,
I've done my rituals. I have a shrine to Lamar and Jeff Bezos in my bathroom. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Can we talk about some NFC East teams that actually made the playoffs last year? The Dallas Cowboys are my number 1 pretender. I want to say that now. Dallas Cowboys, they've done a lot in the offseason. I agree, they've done a lot, but at plus 1,300 odds to win the Super Bowl is outright ridiculous. They kept Tony Pollard, kept Leighton Vander Esch, added Stephon Gilmore, added wide receiver, up to this wide receiver core. But they're still a pretender, Kelly.
I agree. I think Tony Pollard was the right move for them, definitely, over Zeke for sure. But, I mean, it's the Cowboys. They haven't won a Super Bowl since before any of us in this program were born.
Yeah, I do want to add some on that.
It's been some time.
It's been 1996 since the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl. The last time they won a Super Bowl, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Micah Parsons, and Trevon Diggs weren't even born yet. In 1996, the Montreal Expos drafted a quarterback in the MLB draft named Tom Brady. Gallon of gas cost $1.22. eBay launched that year. So it's been some time. It's been some time since the Dallas Cowboys actually contended for anything. And I don't think that's going to change this year.
You know what I think is going to change, though? The fortunes for the NFC North Detroit Lions. They are my contenders, and I honestly love what your boys are doing over in Detroit. I feel like Dan Campbell has got a squad together. They're really trying to put together a squad around Jared Goff, which I don't really care for Jared Goff, but the team had the 4th best offense in total yards a game last season with 380 per game. That's up near Kansas City, some of these high electric offenses. I'm like, really, with Amara St. Brown and all these other wide receivers, they're really putting up 4th best. I really like what they've done this offseason, getting rid of Jamal Williams, bringing in the Chicago Bears back of David Montgomery. That 2-headed spear of Swift and Montgomery will be excellent.
No, I agree. And you touched on the defense was obviously their biggest downfall last season, had arguably the worst defense in the league. But they've obviously made a point of emphasis on addressing that, signing Cameron Sutton, signing C.J. Gardner-Johnson, really addressing the secondary and this defense. Nate, I want to ask you, are the Lions the favorites in the NFC North?
I think I'll say yes. Because, the Minnesota Vikings, they had a great year last year, but the amount of one-score games that they had to win, usually that regresses to the mean. So I don't think they'll be quite as fortunate next season. And for the Lions, they just need a competent defense. Their offense was really good. If they can and with their additions to the secondary, I think they'll be solid. And I think they can win NFC North. And they have the 16th and 18th pick. They can add immediate impact guys on the defense that can round it out. So I think they have a shot to win the North.
They need someone on the defense like how Micah Parsons is for the Cowboys. It's not a great team. They're definitely pretenders, but Micah Parsons is a defensive player who makes noise. Also, my pick for the Defensive Player of the Year this year is going to be Micah Parsons. But I think Detroit gets someone like that, someone to just explode and make noise for the defense. It could be a huge game changer. And we're talking about moves being made in the offseason, but we still have the NFL draft coming up.
Right.
And I know these are new kids, and I know they're just coming out of college, but they can make some noise. We have a lot of talent coming in this year, and I think if they get their hands on somebody, like someone from Alabama, Georgia, one of those top guys, they could do great.
No, and Aiden Hutchinson obviously had a great year last year as a rookie. They also signed, the Lions kept some familiar faces in Alex Anzalone, who led the Lions in tackles last season. Johnny, I want you to have the last word. What is your Washington Commander football team? What is their record going to be this season?
Man. If I could sell my soul to get Lamar Jackson on the Commanders, I would do it in a heartbeat. It's just they have a great defense. They have pieces offensively. They don't have a great offense. They have like a bag of like marshmallow puffs as a quarterback right now. Maybe some Uncrustables if you're lucky. We have not had a good quarterback since one season of RG3. Before injuries unfortunately took him out.
Kirk Cousins was okay.
Yeah, without a good quarterback, a playoff level quarterback. I would say Jared Goff is probably the worst playoff quarterback.
Whoa.
Like he's like the 12th or 13th best quarterback. Like he can make a playoffs, but he's not going to do anything.
Full of the steaming
But I
hot
think
takes today.
The fact that the Commanders and the Falcons aren't all in on Lamar Jackson in a wide open NFC.
Hogwash, collusion. It's collusion.
It's
100% collusion. Listen, Dan Snyder, get out of town. You're awful. You not only are you a bad just person, you also can't run a football team. So sell your money to Jeff Bezos, who's also not a great guy, but maybe he'll buy Lamar Jackson. That would be cool. Give me a quarterback. Give me 11-6. Give me 11-6 for the Commanders with
If
Lamar
they don't
Jackson.
get Lamar.
If they don't get Lamar,
Yes.
0-17.
Johnny, I just want to say I feel like if the Commanders were going to get Lamar, they would have done it by now. So not to crush your dreams, but I
Don't
think
tell me the truth, Kelly.
You heard it here first. The Washington Commanders are finishing 0-17 because they are not getting Lamar Jackson. Now that is all the time we have for NFL, but don't go anywhere because we have some MLB talk with today being opening day. We'll be right back.
Welcome to HTF Hot Takes. I'm Johnny Jackson. You've got Emily Aaron to my right and Maluka Costa to my left.
Hello and welcome to our segment of Hot Ones. I'm here with Noah Kemper and Grant
Wheeler.
Yep, I knew that. Grant Wheeler.
Listen, I'm a Bulls fan, but I just can't ever argue against LeBron. I watched him my whole life.
I've been going back and forth with this debate for a long time. It's got to be Michael Jordan.
Whatever she wanted. I would wake up in a maid costume for Doja Cat.
Brutal.
Jeffrey Laux, no question.
Richie, I would give it to Richie.
It is not Richie. It is not Richie.
No, it's Jeff.
Richie's pronouns are he, they, because he cannot be him.
What?
Oh, wait a second.
I'm gonna have to also agree and say Jeff. He always is spiffy.
It might be Cameron. Cameron's had some good fits.
Out of the women, Norelli always dresses really, really cute.
Brother. That went so awful.
It's basketball.
College football, I think, is the best sport to watch.
If you don't like soccer, it's because you suck at it.
I think college football is the best.
Thanks for watching.
Welcome back, everybody. Of course, today is opening day in the MLB. Kelly, we just wrapped up the World Baseball Classic with Japan defeating the United States in the championship. What was your favorite moment?
That was a great game. So last summer, actually, I got to see Shohei Ohtani play with Mike Trout. It was amazing. They're super talented. It's really, really too bad they play for such a terrible team. But anyways, it was great. So the score was 3-2. We were in the bottom of the ninth, and Shohei Ohtani was pitching to Mike Trout, who are teammates normally, and now they're versing each other, Japan and the United States. He struck him out. Last out of the game, game over, Japan wins. It was super exciting. I mean, it was cool because they're teammates, but Japan got the win, and well-deserved because he's one of the best baseball players in the country. And happy opening day. Happy one more year left with the Angels for Johnny. Johnny, what was your favorite moment from the World Baseball Classic?
So the great thing about the World Baseball Classic is that we're able to see a lot of these international players that are gonna hopefully make waves either in MLB or in other leagues. My favorite moment was Munetaka Murakami hitting a home run to tie the championship game at 1-1 off Merrill Kelly. Not only is it just incredible to see, he's 23 years old. Murakami won the Japan's MVP last year. 56 homers in 140 games. He should be in Major League Baseball by 2026. Man, he has such a beautiful swing. And I want him on the Dodgers so bad. I want Shohei on the Dodgers so bad. I'm hearing too many rumblings for me to not be extremely excited.
And Nate, what about you? What was your favorite?
Oh, probably the Trey Turner Grand Slam against Venezuela. I mean, Venezuela was like the top team coming out of their pool, and for USA, I was iffy on them. I was really worried about their pitching, but I guess you don't need to worry about your pitching when you're scoring about 10 runs a game, which they did up until they ran to get up to Japan. But yeah, no, Trey Turner's Grand Slam to give them the lead blew the roof off of the Marlins ballpark. That's probably the loudest they'll get this season.
Now you mentioned Trey Turner, and we are talking obviously some AL, NL MVP odds. Trey Turner is your favorite to win the NL MVP, Nate, at plus 1,100 odds. Why do you think he's going to walk away with it?
Well, if you look at, I mean, he absolutely ripped the cover off the ball in the World Baseball Classic. I think he had
Dodgers legend
five
Trey
or
Turner.
6 home runs, and like, he wanted to go back to the East Coast. So he's with the Phillies now. They gave him an 11-year contract, so I think he's going to be much more comfortable. And with that lineup, when you have guys like Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and Nick Castellanos around him, if he can, it will give him more pitches to hit. And he can do it all defensively. He's going to steal a lot of bases this year too. I mean, he just does everything, and I think that's going to help the Phillies. They could make a run.
Yeah, especially Trey Turner moving back to the leadoff spot. He hit third in LA for a lot of it. I mean, him moving back into the leadoff spot really gives them a dynamic offense because Kyle Schwarber, love him to death, not a leadoff hitter. Trey Turner leading off for Philly, one of the most potent offenses in the league, especially when Harper comes back. It could be a really nice team and a really nice lineup for Trey Turner to finally win that MVP.
Yeah, and obviously last season the Houston Astros defeated the Phillies in 6 games in the World Series. Are the Phillies going to make it back to the World Series? What do we think?
I think they have a chance. The only thing, that NL East is a really tough division. You got the Braves, you got the Mets. It could be one of those things where they get in, but they get in as a wild card and they have to play like a tough team right out of the gate. So I mean, it's just any of those. If you tell me any of those 3 teams between the Mets, Braves, and Phillies are the last team standing in the NL, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, they've got a great 1-2-3 in Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and Ranger Suarez. But after that, for the Phillies, that 4th starter, is it Andrew Painter? Is his arm going to hold up over a full season? We just don't know, and I think that's the issue with the Phillies. In a 3-game series, I think they've got it. But I don't know about that NLCS. I think that's where they're really going to run into trouble.
Yeah, and I want to get back to these NL MVP odds. Johnny, you do not think Trey Turner is winning the NL MVP.
I don't.
Why is it going to be Francisco Lindor?
So here's the thing about Francisco Lindor. He is a dynamic switch hitter. You know, his first year in New York wasn't great, but he still put up 4.5 wins above replacement. Right? That's all-star level player. In his first year, learning a completely new league, completely new region of the nation. Last year, he put up 7 wins above replacement, right? And I think he's projected for about a 250 average, like 20-something homers. If Francisco Lindor, who is one of, if not the best defensive shortstops in baseball, if he can get to 30, 35 homers, which is very possible because they're moving the fences in at Citi Field. If he can get to 30, 35 homers, instead of 250, hit 280 with his on-base skills and his defense and his speed, if he steals some bases with the new rules, Lindor could sneak his way into an MVP conversation very easily, especially because the Mets, they're going to be a dynamic offense. They're going to be a dynamic team. There's so much star power on that offense, on that team in general. There's no winning team argument because he's going to play for a winner. Lindor's got it.
Now the Mets are at plus 900 odds to win the World Series. Do you think with all this star power they actually have a chance to contend?
Definitely. I think any team with Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer alone is great. You've also got Tyler McGill. You've got David Peterson. You've got Carlos Carrasco, who's a little bit underrated at this point, a little bit forgotten. Quintana's out for a while, which doesn't help. But the Mets definitely have a shot to make a deep playoff run.
The only thing I'd worry about with the Mets is because Scherzer and Verlander are older. If they overwork them during the regular season, I think they really need to manage their innings to try and have them ready once it comes to September. And I think if they're fresh by the playoffs, I mean, that's probably the best 1-2 punch in baseball.
No, Verlander is obviously coming off coming off a unanimous Cy Young season. Looking at the Cy Young odds in the AL, Jacob DeGrom leading the way at plus 550, Garrett Cole plus 700, Dylan Cease at plus 900, and then Shohei at plus 11. Are any of these guys dark horses, or is it going to be DeGrom, Cole, leading the way?
I actually have a question as well, because with someone like Shohei Ohtani, who is like generational talent, do you think he even has the opportunity because he's playing for someone who he's playing for the Angels? I mean, he has 1 year left them. Do you think he even has the potential to reach MVP caliber with playing for a team like that?
Well, if we're talking about Cy Young, I think that means a lot less the team you're on for Cy Young. Like, if he goes and he gets like 18 wins, that's like around 2 ERA, he's going to win the award. And I think they love voting for him too. Like, they're going to.
We got a wins merchant to my left. Oh gosh, God. Wins mean nothing for starting pitchers. Thankfully, the voters have kind of taken that away. They don't care about win-loss record, which is great, because if Shohei Ohtani has a Tungsten Armo Doyle game where he gives up 1 run through 6 innings, hits 2 homers, and then his bullpen blows the game, he still played a phenomenal game. He should still get credit for that. I'm glad the voters have come to their senses. A guy I really like here for this Cy Young odds is Luis Castillo at plus 1,600. He was a workhorse when he got traded from the Reds to Seattle last year. Really picked up his four-seamer, turned it from one of the worst four-seam fastballs in baseball to one of the best at like a negative 17 run value, which is almost unheard of, especially on four-seam fastballs. I mean, the Mariners are going to be a dynamic team. Luis Castillo is a stud, has one of the best changeups in baseball, one of the best sinkers in baseball, one of the best four-seams in baseball. If he just gets a little bit better with that slider, I think it's his award to lose.
Now, in the NL side, the reigning Cy Young winner, Sandy Alcantara, plus 500, is leading the way once again. But you touched on Verlander and Scherzer, who are 3rd and 4th at plus 700 and plus 800. Is it going to be one of these Mets guys, or is it going to be Sandy once again over?
I think one of the guys from the field you could look at is Max Fried. He's the ace of the Braves, and like he's consistently been getting better. His ERA dropped from 3 to about like 2.5. If he continues to improve on that trajectory, I think he'll have a shot to win the award. And he's one of the best young pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, and the other thing about Max Fried is he basically cut his walk rate in half last year, walking less than 2 guys per 9 innings. I mean, phenomenal pitcher. Always showing love to Max Fried, who could also be a Dodger next year.
Oh my God.
Speaking of the Dodgers, I know we just talked way too early Super Bowl contenders. I want to know your way too early World Series winner. I'm going to go with the Dodgers simply because why not? I know it's your team, Johnny, but I feel good about them this year. What about you guys? Way too early. Who are you picking?
Way too early? I like the Padres. I think their pitching rotation, you have Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, that's a really good 1-2 punch. Fernando Tatis is coming back, and they made it to the NLCS last season. And no diss towards the Dodgers, but they're kind of rebuilding this year. They're giving their young guys a shot. And I think the Padres beating them in the postseason is going to give them a lot of confidence. And the experience in LCS is going to be something that can lift them come the end of the season.
Yeah, and with the balanced schedule, the Padres have to face the Dodgers in the regular season less, which that's kind of been their kryptonite, the Dodgers in the regular season. Now, this is a team that I don't think is necessarily a favorite to win the World Series, but if 90% of things go right,
more than that,
I think we could see the Red Sox in the World Series. Here's why, okay? You've got Brian Bayo, right, working with Pedro Martinez. Obviously, any pitcher can work with Pedro Martinez, whatever. He throws 99-mile-an-hour bowling ball sinkers, has a great changeup, has a great slider, right? If Chris Sale stays healthy, we've been saying it for 5 years, whatever. If he stays healthy, he's a Cy Young contender. Corey Kluber, he's a guy with playoff experience, playoff pedigree. James Paxton threw a no-hitter in Toronto with the Mariners. I mean,
12 years ago.
Yeah, but listen, if things go right for this team, if they call up Jorge Alfaro when he hits, if Trevor Story comes back, a lot of ifs on this roster.
Dude, there are so many.
Johnny,
if Masataka Yoshida goes
I don't want to
off.
cut you off, but it's too many ifs for me. So
Yeah,
too many ifs. Too many ifs.
It can be really good.
No, I'm hearing too many ifs, especially in the long 162-game baseball season. That's just way too many ifs. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for some baseball talk. 2 games at 1 o'clock today. The San Francisco Giants are traveling to New York to take on the Yankees, and the Atlanta Braves are traveling to Washington to take on the Nationals at 1:05. Be sure to tune in. But we have to toss to a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere because us three have our surefire picks of the week. Nate and Johnny, thank you so much. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As always, we're closing out today's show with our surefire picks of the week. Kelly and I went with the Final Four, so I'm going to start with Jeff with his NBA pick of the week.
So some quick NBA talk. It's Boston Celtics at Milwaukee Bucks tonight, at 7:30 p.m. And I was feeling the Celtics, but I'm sorry, Mr. Grant Wheeler. I'm riding with the Bucks after what I just saw last night. The Bucks took it to a really good Indiana Pacers team. Giannis dropping 38 points, 12 assists, 17 rebounds, and then the man himself, Drew
Holiday, career high 51?
51 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. I can't argue with that, and I'm sorry. The Boston Celtics have the statistics to back it up. Like they're better than a lot of statistic categories than the Celtics are, or the Bucks are. But I really feel that the Celtics are going to drop it tonight because they did not play well the other night against the Wizards. They let Kristaps drop over 25 points on them. They're letting everyone dunk on him. I feel like Giannis is going to do the same thing he did last time they played. He's going to bully them down in the paint.
You heard it here first. Now I'm going to be really quick with mine. I'm going with the first of 2 Final Four games. Actually, the second. Sorry, your game is first, but I'm gonna go with mine first. Miami, of course, taking on UConn. I am going to go with the under. Under is set at 149.5, which I think is so high, especially considering that UConn just defeated Gonzaga 82-54. They have one of the best 3-point defenses in the country, only allowing opponents to shoot 29% from deep. So I'm going with under. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm not going to pick who I think is going to win, but
you should pick who you think is going to win. Do it.
I'm going to go with Miami because you're going with FAU.
Good,
and I think that would be crazy to have 2 South Florida teams playing in the national championship.
Okay, guys, my pick of the week, FAU is playing San Diego State University, and if you guys remember a few weeks ago, my dark horse was FAU, and look who's in the Final Four. So anyways, April 1st is Saturday. Tip-off is at 6:09. It's in Houston. This is the first Final Four FAU has made in history. I'm pretty sure FAU hasn't got past the round of 64. So this is kind of crazy. The over/under is set at 131.5 right now. So I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna take the over. I think both of the teams definitely have more potential to score more than 70 points each. San Diego State is currently favored by 2, which is 1 basket. And FAU as a 9 seed, and I'm pretty sure SDSU, what were they? 5?
Yeah.
Okay, still kind of crazy that there's not even a number 1 seed left in the Final Four. But I'm actually going to be really bold. I'm taking FAU for the entire tournament. I think they're going to win March Madness. Put your life savings on it, no matter how small it is. But
can you throw it up for the camera?
Throw it up for the camera.
Former FAU Owls, now UCF Knights. We appreciate what Florida Atlantic U is doing, and if they do make the finals against Miami, I am definitely sure they're going to make sure Miami loses, just like FIU beat Miami in football 2 years ago.
Yep.
South Florida, if there is an FAU and Miami national championship, will
go crazy.
Absolutely insane. No, I mean, you touched on it. There is not a single 1 seed left. Jeff, how crazy has this March Madness been?
It's been awesome. It's just great to see Furman beating Virginia. Like the teams that you don't see usually winning, just to come out on top and see them and their smaller level head coach get an opportunity to go to a bigger school. It's just great for the overall sport.
And it's so great too because I know I touched on this a while ago, but back when Jeff and I used to go to FAU, it might have been the year before you got there, but to get people to come to the games, they literally had to throw tailgates. When have you ever heard of tailgates for a basketball
Free
game?
T-shirts, free free
free
everything.
T-shirts, free bobbleheads, free everything you could think of just to get you there. And now to watch them on TV in New York City with the entire stadium chanting FAU, FAU, it just makes my heart happy for the coach, makes my heart happy for the team. Can't wait to see what they do this weekend in Houston.
Hootie hoot, you heard it here first. UCF repping the FAU Owls. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this week. Johnny Jackson and Nate Marrero, thank you so much again for joining us. For Kelly Campbell, for Jeff Lax, I am Riley Shepard. Roll Owls.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats.